is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin, Cam Water.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the fishies.
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride,
ride with Shannon.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan De Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. It's Michael Conchar that's got around Dylan De Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cullajar's got past, so Dylan.
Light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan De Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in, we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
green and they're
this
off.
first lap? Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin, Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble's bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't implemented it, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. You know, let's see if he gets a good run. God's just absolutely competitive here. Really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are watching from tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals, brought to you by Sim Racing World TV. It's round number 3 of Season 1 for this season, and you might be a little bit confused as to why your intro isn't being read to you by your average sim racer, Andrew Cowan. Unfortunately, Cowie couldn't be here tonight with me. I am your commentator, Hamish Munro. Joining me is series admin, stepping out of the car for the evening, stepping into the commentary box, pulling a bit of a Neil Crompton, a bit of a Mark Scaife, a bit of a expert analyzer for us here. Bradley Hudson, Hutto, welcome into the booth, mate. Tonight is going to be an exceptional race. I'm sure you are absolutely excited to get out there on track, but unfortunately you get to call the action now with me.
Yeah, good evening, Hamish. Yeah, I was definitely looking forward to, but you know, when we need 2 people upstairs, duty calls, and more than happy to fill out.
Well, mate, I mean, it's going to be a ripper of an absolute of a race here tonight. Of course, you know, Mid-Ohio has a multitude of challenges about it as a circuit. No matter what kind of car you're driving, whether it's the F3, the supercar, the 8.6, or anything else that might come around here as an opportunity to drive. I mean, what were some of the plans coming into this race from a driver's perspective, and where do you think some of the drivers tonight could really benefit from some strategy out there going into this race?
I think number one is going to have to be keeping it clean on track. With those hills and the high downforce car, and just loses so much downforce over the crests. If you can keep it clean and not spin, you'll make up many positions tonight. So that'd be plan one. In terms of strategy, yeah, just pick your moments, and yeah, good luck to all the drivers this evening.
Of course, sprint format here tonight, so we've got 2 races, obviously the 20-minute heat and then the 40-minute feature. We've seen that kind of benefit certain drivers in the past. We saw it worked absolute perfection at Hockenheim in round 1, giving us some absolutely awesome action out on track. And you know, I guess it kind of just, you know, it kind of just works in our favour for getting as much racing as possible out of one night. It's also going to give us the option to kind of reset after 20 minutes, get a bit of a feel of the field, reverse the top 10, and then have another good crack for 40 minutes after.
Absolutely, it just gives those drivers that potentially didn't have such a good race in race 1 to really have a go in race 2 and make amends and try and claw back some points that they might have hopefully scored in that first race.
Well, speaking of points, mate, we'll quickly run everyone through the standings at this stage. Just kind of going through the top 6 in the standings because, you know, at early point in the season, this is kind of who are going to be our major players kind of running forward at this stage. So leading out the championship standings at this stage is Daniel Byrne, 352 points after the first 2 rounds. David Gallo on 338 in P2. Will Ryan in P3 on 329. Jay Dixon, P4 in the championship on 306. He had a bit of a tough round last time out. And then in P5, Andrew Johnston in the Pro-Am class could likely be put up into the pros after this round, depending on how he goes. He's only 2 points off Jay Dixon at the moment. And then Caleb Ballack, he's in P6 at this stage on 303 points. So it's very tight up the top, and they're all separated by less than 50 points.
Absolutely, and that's what we like to see. Like the Pro-Ams are really mixing it with the pros and showing that they're not here just to make up the mid-pack of the race. But yeah, if he's up there rubbing shoulders and he's pushing for it, you'll probably see him in pro. If it's not, you know, in the coming weeks, well, he might go on to win the championship and be pro next season. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's really going to have to work out of what's in the cards for him, you know, realistically. And if you know, the admins and management think it's fair and prudent to put him into the pro class. I mean, talking about what the current standings are in this practice session, with only 10 seconds to go, he's P4 on the pace. You know, so he is up there mixing it with the pros at the moment. Only pro him in that top 10 at this stage.
He has been quick all season. He had an absolute blinder in Hockenheim. I think he, himself and his teammate Greg Bradley were P1, P2 following that practice and in qualifying. They were red hot that week. But in saying that, results from last week, we had the Pro-Ams fill out positions 6 to 9. So, and I think Johnson might have finished 9th in that one. So in saying that, there's a handful of Pro-Ams that can actually really mix it with the pros on any given day. I guess if we refer back to last week's standings, it was kind of off the top of my head. Yeah, with the Pro-Ams finishing 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th, it just shows that these pros might have to lift their game a bit.
Yeah, I think it's realistically going to come down to who is going to be able to lift their game over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we're 2 rounds in, 9 rounds for the whole season, with 1 drop round. Obviously, tonight's going to have to be your drop round, unfortunately for you. But I appreciate it nonetheless coming in here, walking me through the F3 landscape a little bit more from the drivers and admin perspective. But I think going forward, Zolder offered up so many different reasons as to why it was an absolute ripper race. We had a couple of safety cars out there, a little bit of controversy, but in all, some really great racing between drivers out on track. And it offered so many things for us to kind of pick apart and you could show it to people and be like, this is what the F3s are all about. All these little things that have happened in this race, controversial or not, has given us so many things back in terms of learning or in terms of entertainment on our screens. And I think Mid-Ohio could be one that is a real dark horse for giving that at us as well, because it is such an interesting type of circuit.
Well, given the 2 long straights after turn 1 and then after that hairpin heading down the back straight there, offers 2 fantastic opportunities for drivers to pick their moments and, maybe poke the nose up the inside. But, as we've seen time and time again, early laps, cold tyres, fingers crossed all pans out well for all drivers tonight.
So Ballack, Dixon and Bradley are out on track together at the moment, and they're all around each other right now, and they're all setting faster sector, then the person behind them beats them, and then the person behind them beats them. So Ballack's setting purples, then Bradley gets into the purples, and then Dixon beats them both. So it's going to be interesting to see this little dogfight between these 3 drivers tonight on who can get the benefit off each other and who can get to their betterment against the others as well. And then not even just them, but the others in the top 6. I mean, Johnston, Ryan, and Daniel Byrne and Gallo as well, even sometimes too. So could be interesting to see how this all kind of plays out between them. But I think we could be in for a very interesting, not only race tonight, in terms of championship positioning, but for the rest of the season as well, for this little championship fight between these drivers.
Well, it's actually it's good we're following Caleb Ballack just right now. I think he's really started to mature as a driver. Like, he's starting to really hit those quick times. Last 2 weeks he's been quite good. Sits on top of the timing tower as we speak. So, I'm actually quite excited to see how he performs tonight and if he can try and break into that top 5 in the pros.
Well, I mean, he has matured as a driver and he's really improved over the last couple of seasons. Has made a couple of mistakes here and there, but that comes with learning. That comes with maturing as a driver, as we say. Making those mistakes, as long as you can learn from those mistakes as well. So if he can learn from those things and he can apply them, he's going to be an absolute ripper when it comes to battling out for championships in the future. If Phil Vella ever comes back or Jay Dixon starts to really fight for championships properly again, or even if Katajar comes back as well. So this could really lead to having just such a competitive landscape for F3s going forward. And of course, the big news coming out today with iRacing is we're finally getting an updated F3 car, getting the new Dallara 3XF, I think it's called. I can't remember the exact name, but we are finally getting an updated F3. And with that updated F3 comes rain for Season 2. So if the league decides to change to that new car, we could, the whole landscape of the league changes, right? And the whole landscape of the series changes because we've got a new car, we've got the possibility of rain. We know they like to run dynamic weather in SRW. That could even then offer up for opportunities for drivers lower down the order to really make their way up, being that they're actually, they might be better off in the rain.
Absolutely. When I saw that news drop today, I think I knew rain was coming, but then with the updated F3, I was, I guess a little bit shocked, but I guess it's been quite a while since the F3's had a decent update. We were running the old 2012 model, I believe. So I'm all for it. Like, I'm glad we've got a new car that's on its way. I guess we'll look at it and potentially move over. It could be something very exciting. But yeah, rain. I guess that's the big one that's really the big news across iRacing. And it'll be, how do we drive in the rain? No one's done it before on this platform. So I'm looking forward to it, personally. It'll probably be daunting, but like you said, for the drivers down the back, how can they benefit from from rain? Will there be drivers out there that just absolutely smash it in the rain? You know, there's guys out there that can absolutely hot lap when it comes to, you know, putting laps together inside the race. They sometimes lack from that racecraft. However, if there's drivers out there that can actually excel in the rain and do better, I look forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's really going to open up the opportunities for us to, not, you know, it's obviously going to be a bit of a learning curve going through that change. You know, bringing in rain and just bringing in twice as many possibilities for variable weather, right? Because it might mean that we have a little bit of rain, but then it changes over to dry, or on the vice versa. That as Johnston comes round, sets purple sector in the third. What's his time after that lap? It's nothing spectacular. It actually hasn't gone better that time around. A couple of comments regarding the new F3 as well. Adrian Loretti saying, bring on new F3 and rain. And also saying 8:30 p.m. starts next season too, apparently. Thanks, SRW. I don't know about 8:30 p.m. starts. And Chris Wally saying new F3, but if we simulate the rain properly, then we sit in the pits for 6 hours waiting for it to dry.
Very true.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed it doesn't have to be like that. But yeah, I'd be more than happy or excited to experiment with rain. I guess it'll be daunting and scary, and we're going to see wings fly everywhere when we first do it. But you know, trial and error. That's what we do. We try one thing, and you know, it does work. The drivers give their feedback at the end of the season, and we try and build upon those and build the league up. And I guess just looking at how we've built the league to where it is today, like we've got a grid of, what have we got? 27 drivers out on track tonight. I remember the days when we were running with, you know, sub 10, or we were barely breaking 15. So to see the growth in this league alone over the last, I think just this calendar, 1 year since about now, last year, it's been tremendous.
We've also got Jackals and Chazwell saying, I'm keen to be the first one to get a P-fence in the rain. There might be a few people who come P-fence. Johnston manages to get up to P8 off the back of that as well. 1:15.316 was the lap time. Good lap from him, though, but he is about 7/10 off the back of Jay Dixon. Currently the pole sitter with a 1:14.646 at the halfway point of this session. Chris Wadley saying there's enough chaos without a wet track. Well, I mean, that's true, Chris, but, I mean, it's the natural progression. You know, it's with rain coming in, it's actually, we can't avoid rain, right? As you can't avoid rain in racing in real life, can you, Brad? Unless it's absolutely torrential and, you know, they call it off. But you can't avoid rain when you go real racing, and it's only going to bring a little bit more realism to it, right? And the reason we talk about rain, the reason we talk about the new F3, these F3 cars won't get rain. So if we're going to go towards the option to run rain, we're actually forced to change to the new car. I think we should go to the new car anyway, because it'll be an updated version. It means we're going to get the as modern version as we possibly can for this type of car. So it's only going to do us a benefit by having it out there. And it's basically been called the little brother of the SF23. The only difference between that car and the new F3 is the new F3 doesn't have DRS and the new F3 doesn't have push to pass. So you don't have to learn anything new to drive it. You just have to get used to the car. That's all it is. You know, you don't have to get used to push pass, which was one of the big arguments about not moving to the SF23 for this season.
I guess just a few extra stickers on the front and completely new car, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, people might have to get a new livery done up, but they'll have, 3 or 4 weeks to get that done at the end of this season.
Well, most drivers go out there and have a new livery season to season, like sponsors come and go, team changes. So it's nothing new, and I imagine we'll probably see some, just transition old liveries onto the new. So yeah, I guess it's all tentative and speculative at the moment. Nothing's set in stone. The news only dropped today, but I guess we've got time before the new season starts in April to figure these things out and go from there.
Well, one thing that we can also confirm, really, because they did release some screenshots with what cars would be getting it, right? We have confirmed that the multi-class of GT3s and LM and GTPs will be getting rain. So it means that the IMSA series in SRW can actually run rain going forward as of Season 2. So even if the series wanted to trial and error rain in that series, and as well as the Thursday GR86s, they'll get rain. The Formula Vs are also getting rain, although I don't know about running the Formula Vs in a rainy session. But we have the opportunity to test it before we implement it for the new F3, right? Because we can implement it for IMSA and we can implement it for the 86s. So we can test it and we can have a bit of a play around for the next couple of seasons and just see what the go is and see what the plan might be going forward. But again, nothing's set in stone, obviously. But I think
we could always just do Long Beach in the rain. I'm sure that'd sort out a few people and probably
that would
a few less numbers a week.
That would really separate the men from the boys, wouldn't it? It would.
Absolutely.
It really give us a good insight on what that could be. Greg Bradley setting his fastest lap at the session as well last time by 1:14.807. The current standings as they go for the top 10: Jay Dixon on provisional pole position with a time of 1:14.646. Caleb Ballack P2 at the moment 1:14.784. Greg Bradley then at the start of the second row of the grid. As I say that, Dylan DeBono puts it up into P2. That was a great time from him, 1:14.717. That now drops Ballack and Bradley down to P3 and 4. Burn down to P5, Gallo down to P6, Roberts in P7, Ryan in P8. And then we got Storer and Johnston, P9 and 10 for P1 and 2 of the Pro-Ams. Gerard just in behind them, though, for P3 in class, P11 overall. Ray Douglas in the chat, good to see if they bring in the rain factor in all iRacing categories. It will sort out the Van Gisbergens from the also rants. So there is a bit of confusion about this, Hutto, about when they're actually bringing in rain. You know, is everything getting it? No, not everything's actually getting rain. Basically, how they're doing it is by class. So all the cars that they use for the rookie series get rain, but the rookie variants of their series do not. So, you know, the rookie series, the F1600s, the Formula Vs, and the MX5s, they all have higher class counterparts, which are non-fixed, and let people's, I think it's Class C for the MX5s. They can race that in Class C and it goes towards their MPRs. So the higher class versions of those will get it, but the rookie officials will not have rain, because why would you put the rookies in a rainy session?
That would be an absolute nightmare. Imagine, you know, when you first started, or when I first started on this service, I think we had it hard enough time sticking on the track. Yeah, no way. Smart decision by iRacing to not put rain for the newcomers. But for the more experienced drivers, or those that are willing to, I guess, take that risk, yeah, I'm all for it. So I guess we'll just have to see how iRacing handles it. Even with the introduction of the new F3 or the SF23, will we see that replace the F3 car, like the actual official series? I haven't done too much research into it.
They have said it'll be Class C. So the current Formula 3 is Formula C in the officials. So,
well, would you think that it replaces it?
I would say yes. And I'd say that the SF23 officially replaces the Formula 3.5 in Formula B. Instead of having the Super Formula races, or they could have both. So I would say it does. I mean, we have a modern F4, you know, and that came in, and that was a Class C series. F4's getting it. They did show, I believe they showed screenshots of the F4 in rain. They showed the 8.6s. The 8.6s have got it, as I mentioned. The IMSA multi-class racing has it, which would also mean the LMP. It would mean the GT3s, the LMP2s, LMP3s, GTPs, and possibly even GT4s have got it. I would argue Porsche Cup cars would have it, and I would say the only thing is production cars may not have it, Hutto. Like the Mustang FR 500, because it's a bit old, and the like the Clio and stuff may not have it. But they're doing it so that any new car that gets released has rain. So
comes with rain.
So they're not going to update the current supercar model, for example, to have rain, because Gen 3 will have rain. So they want to put time into updating Gen 3. So there's also a new license, actually. It's on topic for the F3s. There's a new license known as the Open Wheeler license. So basically,
Jay Dixon's gone with a 14.587
he
to
does
extend his lead at the top.
He does, to end out the session as well. So he does a better on that lap. Of course, the qualifying session, Hutto, ends as soon as we get to 15 minutes. So anyone currently on a lap is their last run. Oh, what a lap. 1:14.709, just pips de Bono out of P2. That's an epic lap there from the Pro-Am driver from Velocity. So anyone who is about to finish their lap, it is their final run. If they're on a lap already, they need to hurry up and get to the line, As soon as it gets to 15 minutes, they will be cut off. So just quickly going back to the point about the licenses. There's a new open wheel license getting implemented into iRacing. So tin tops and open wheelers will now have separate licenses. I believe they're doing this because they're planning on doing an IndyCar, like an official IndyCar series, similar to the Coke series for NASCAR. And I believe they're doing it so IndyCar has their own license. I believe that's the reasoning. But
a long time coming, but yeah, I'm glad the change has come.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So we'll quickly run everyone through the starting grid for the first race here tonight. Jay Dixon will start out of pole position for Downforce Racing. Starting alongside him from Velocity Simlabs is Pro-Am Matthew Gerard. He starts P2, but P1 in class. So both the P1s from the top two classes, they'll start alongside each other. Dylan De Bono will then start in P3, just alongside Carlin's Motorsport David Gallo out of P4. Caleb Ballack will start at a P5 alongside Greg Bradley out of P6. Daniel Byrne will start at a P7 next to Will Ryan in P8 for Pace Syndicate. His teammate, Dave Roberts, will start just in behind him in P9. Andrew Johnston, the top scoring Pro-Am driver, will start at a P10, P2 in class. Brendan Storer will start at a P11 here tonight, third in class. Scott Pocock will start in P12 for Red Rocket Racing. P13 will go to Darren Fahey for DFR. He'll start alongside Brett Del Santo in P14. Then we will have Marcus Kanitska starting at a P15 for Pace Syndicate. He'll start alongside P1 amateur driver Mitch Noble at a P16. Then it'll be Callan Hodgkinson for CXR starting just in behind them in P17, as I mentioned, with Mark Turner in P18 alongside. Shane Bowen out of P19. Alongside him will be Callum Rossender out of P20. Then we've got Mark Cochran out of P21 here tonight. Pete Ziedler starting at a P22 with Nick Schmallenberg starting at a P23 and Dean Singovich starting at a P24. Then we move down to P25 to Matt Tessierero. Then it's Steve Singovich starting just in behind his brother on track in P26. Greg Johnson will then start at a P27 with Matt Gowan starting at a P28. And then the rest of the field have either not set a time, that being Adam Simpson, or they're in the commentary box with me, being Brad Hudson. So also a big thank you to our racing trolls here tonight, Greg Barber, Tyson McAvoy, and the safety car driver as well. Well, Hutto, do you reckon we get a nice little clean start here out at Mid-Ohio? Or do you reckon we may get something that's a little bit more carnage filled?
Oh, I hope it's clean, but I think there'll be some wings flying by the time we get onto the back straight. But where would you rather be on Valentine's Day? Let's be honest.
Oh, mate, I had a beautiful Valentine's Day dinner date with my father. So absolutely spectacular way to spend the day. We've got 30 seconds until the green lights go out and we go racing. Just to go back to Ray Douglas's comment, I'm a Ford boy, but have to hand it to Shane for his efforts with Triple Eight. I mean, Shane was on another level at Triple Eight. Realistically, their team as a whole, I saw comments from Scotty Pye since he started working there, and he said there's a reason why these guys have been on top for so long. They just do it at another level in comparison to the rest of the supercars field. So but it's good though. So we've gridded up. We've got the lights up, ready to go for racing for race number 1 here tonight around Mid-Ohio. And they are off. It was a great start there from Jay Dixon. Matty Gerard lit it up a little bit off the line, but he has not lost too much. We come up through turn 1 for the first time, looking nice and tidy here up the front as we come up towards turn number 2. They make their way around nice and cleanly here, Hutto, and it's good to see as they come around the tight hairpin just before the back straight.
Who's that running wide?
That was
Bono sneaks at the inside of P2. That was Matthew Gerard.
Yeah, it was Gerard. He just drops out there in behind De Bono now. Coming down the back straight. Gallo wants this.
And this is what I'm talking about. The drivers got to be smart and really pick their moments. As Gallo looks, doesn't quite make it. Gerard has the left-hand corner. Gallo looks again. Caleb up the inside. Well done. Good pass.
That was great there from him. Mitchy Noble's had an incident in behind. He's dropped off the back of the field here. We'll get a replay of it at the end of this lap. Back up with Dixon though at the front of the field as we come up through towards the final couple of corners. It's been a nice little clean first lap here. Dixon started well. He's gained a couple of tenths on De Bono in P2 at the moment, nearly up to a second as we come around the final couple of corners. I tell you what, this is just such a tough track to really keep these cars just nice and clean across a whole lap. I mean, it's very, very easy to make a mistake. Fastest lap of the race off lap 1, 1:21.477 goes to Jay Dixon. As they come round, we're looking not too bad. There's a move in the background from Gerard on Bellac. Up the inside he goes. Bellac wants to run the outside line, keeps it ahead of him. In fact, cuts across his nose there to keep it in front. Nice and clean. Doesn't hit him in any way. And we're ready to go again up towards turn number 3.
And I guess, like you said, it's so hard to lap this track. It just requires concentration for 20 minutes. You cannot take your focus off it at all. As we see, is that Gerard going wide?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh no, spin
Oh,
up. Oh, come on, drivers, be smart.
I think that was Johnston there. It was. So was that contact? It wasn't contact between teammates, though, was it?
Unsure, but he got going again. It's what we want to see. We don't want to see wings and bits and pieces flying everywhere. Let's not say that.
That's.
Oh, we have a car on the wall. Who was that?
Brendan Storer. So he's currently there in the wall.
Me.
We'll get some replays
like to see
going.
what happened.
We will. We'll get it up on screen. We'll quickly run through everyone what has happened over the last 2 laps. So to start off with lap number 1, we had this incident with Mitchie Noble. It was up through turn 3 and 4. So he wanted it on the inside, possibly there. Wasn't quite. Oh, and then just runs way too close.
That possibly might have put a Storer into the fence. So safety car has now been called.
Then here's Mark Turner. So there has been a safety car called. Oh, and Turner's just spun it round at the end of lap 1, and then Bradley and Byrne have had it coming together. And this was up between 3 and 4. This is what we saw on our screens. So there you see Gerard off the track. Oh, there's a bit of net code there off the start, and then that's what's brought Byrne into it. And then how's Storer gone off track here off the back of this? How has this happened? Oh, and he's just run it wide.
Oh, dearie me. Unfortunate.
It is not what you want to see for the Cobalt Racing machine. But we will be under safety car when it picks up the leader, Jay Dixon, lap 4 here in the 20-minute sprint. 4 minutes into this one, so it is going by fairly quickly, but the safety car will now bunch the rest of the field back up here.
I guess it just allows the drivers to have a quick breather. Like I said, you've got to concentrate around this track, as we saw. Some drivers just dipping a wheel, going wide, and unfortunately coming a cropper. But we'll circulate around for 2 more laps, and they'll get going again, and yeah, we'll get going.
So what's kind of from a driver's perspective, although it doesn't really pay you much dividends here in the first race because there shouldn't really be a pit stop, but if this was to happen in the feature, what's kind of your process here going through the start of the race? Do you come in, put a little bit of fuel in the car, and then get ready to go racing for the rest of the race, or are you hoping the safety car comes out again kind of at the midpoint just to kind of get you home on that fuel?
Well, that's the thing. The drivers need to look at the fuel levels that are, I guess, prescribed for each week. They'll go with their calculators and try and figure out exactly how much they're going to need for the entire race, and I guess make a judgment call. Being only 4 minutes into the race, or 5 minutes into the race, probably unlikely you'd come in at this point. I think the magic number tonight for race 2 will be the 20-minute mark, being like you normally burn about a litre a lap. There's 20.5 litres in the tank for this particular race, so I'm thinking about the halfway mark potentially is where we'll see cars pit in tonight.
Well, if we're going a litre a lap, that's the 20-minute mark. They're setting, I'd say on average, say a 1:17, let's say, per lap. Quick math on that one would probably say maybe lap 18 might be the cutoff for that, and that would probably be around about 20 minutes, I would say. So maybe a little bit over 20 minutes, maybe a little bit under, give or take 2 minutes or so. So I think that realistically that sounds about what should be the pit stop strategy window. It's kind of what we've seen the last couple of weeks, especially at Hockenheim when we had the last sprint race this season. So It's going to be interesting to see, though, what's going to happen tonight. But also, if there's early safety cars, that could push that out as well with a bit of fuel saving under safety car 2 in race number 2 tonight.
Absolutely, and as we've seen in previous seasons, some cars have got it right. They've fuel saved and been able to pretty much cough over the line. Other cars take the gamble, they either stay out and they lose, or they take fuel when they don't need to, and they just end up back in the pack. I guess that's the beauty of having to try and think on the spot, think very quickly. Do I need to pit? How much fuel do I put in? Do I go... Well, normally you'd take a full tank of gas up to the maximum allowable. I guess we'll wait and see what these drivers tend to do.
So, if I'm correct on this, the safety car is no longer flashing its headlights. Does that mean it's... Oh, no, he is still flashing them. I was going to say, if he's no longer flashing the headlights, does that mean he comes in the lap, that lap?
I haven't heard anything being called yet. I've got my ear, I guess, glued to race control. Surely we'll hear the call. Yeah. I think we might hear the call soon. Fingers crossed we get back racing, because that's what we came here to see.
Well, exactly, and being such a short race, we don't want to be under safety car for too long as well. So I'm kind of reading through the little cheat sheet you gave me. So 45% capacity here tonight. 17 laps, 33 laps for each race. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how this strategy does play out. And it's going to be interesting.
I can confirm the safety car is coming in now. Dixon will have the field very soon.
So is this this is the first race we've ever had at Mid-Ohio, isn't it?
Correct. SRW F3s have not raced here, and it'll probably be the last time the F3 races here, seeing as potentially moved to the SF23.
Well, it means that we're in unknown territory then, as to what we could see here tonight, what we could see to in the future if we go up to the new Dallara Formula 3 car. Of course, big shout out to Callan Hodgson, 50th race start last week in the F3. So race number 51 for him tonight. He now ticks that over. I was mentioning prior to the race, I'd love to know how many races I've called for SRW at this point. I'm sure it's over 50, but we are going back to racing now as they cross the line. It's Dixon in the lead to De Bono, to Ballack, to Gallo, to Gerard. That's the top 5. Ryan, Konitska, Johnston, Pocock, Fahey. That's the 10. As we come up towards turn 2 for the 6th time here tonight. As De Bono wants it up the inside, trying to defend against Ballack there. It's a smart move from De Bono just to cover that inside line. The tighter you are through that corner, it can actually help you get a better run onto the back straight. It's a bit hard to really get the outside move worked there through turn 2.
De Bono defends. Hale looks on the outside, but he looks... Ooh. Good defence by De Bono.
This is good to see from these boys, just a nice little clean run here. Ballack needs to be careful not to get frustrated, and impulsive here with his moves. He just needs to be patient and be, consistent and precise, and calculated where he wants to make this move. There's no point in just shooting it up the inside because it's going to end in tears.
Absolutely, and Gallo will be licking his lips. He's, like you can see, just hanging off the back of these two drivers in 2nd and 3rd, waiting for, potentially a move, or, one pushes wide to slow down, and if he can get a run on the straight, I think he'll probably... I could see a 2-for-1 move, really.
It's been a drive-through penalty applied to car number 10 for the contact with car 33 on lap number 1. That will be going to Mitch Noble for his contact for running up the rear of the car at turn 4. So, unfortunately, his night goes from bad to worse. He'll come in the lane, and that'll put him right at the back of the field here tonight, Hutto, being that he's already in P24.
But like we said, this is a sprint round. As De Bono goes up the inside, can he hold it? Jay Dixon holds that left-hand side of the track. Keeping it clean. We go into the right hand. De Bono has the inside now as they go back and forth. Black stalking.
He is, and he wants this. And again, this is where it comes down to just be a bit patient. These guys can have it coming together. You try to sneak it up the inside, and all of a sudden they're in your way. So, maybe just back it off a little bit and, let these guys have a bit of contact. We know that Dixon and De Bono, they don't usually make contact, but, anything can happen out there in F3s. And being that it's the first time we've been to Mid-Ohio and possibly the last time we'll be here in these cars, we don't know what's going to happen and we don't know how the car's going to react around certain corners on this track with these cars and in the certain temperatures we may be running here tonight. I mean, the supercars got up to about 57 degrees last night track temp, so with dynamic weather, it could be on here for quite a spicy little one as Belak up the inside. What a move on Dixon. And again, that was precise. That was calculated. He made the choice. Dixon's going to come back at him here down towards turn 2. Gallo wants to follow him. They're going to go 3 wide here, Hutto, up towards turn 3. Oh,
it's tight. It is tight.
That was smart from Gallo. Then
the pace syndicate, Will Ryan.
It is.
Back this little battle pack.
We're 12 minutes in. This race is absolutely flying by after the restart. These guys are just giving an absolutely epic race here early on in the process for tonight's event.
And I think DeBono will be quite happy that the guys behind him are just throwing their elbows out and trying to take any position they can. That just allows him to extend out. He's out to, a 1.4 lead right now. And, keep going, fellas. That's all he's saying.
On board now with Belak as we're in behind Dixon. We'll stick with him here just up until around turn 3. I just want to see how he's kind of approaching these corners, and if he goes to this move, I'd love to be on board with him for this. There has been a crash in the background. DeBono's gone!
The leader. He's going again.
He is going again.
He definitely drops back. There'll be some damage on that vehicle for sure.
Out of absolute nowhere, the whole landscape has changed. All of a sudden, it's Dixon and Belak battling it out for the win. Gallo in the background. What's happening over the radio, Hutto?
Oh, calling from 443. What have we got?
This happened here with Roberts and Rosenda. Oh, and they've just clipped each other inside the corner. Nice little pirouette between them both.
Hopefully not too much damage was done to either driver. They can get going again, but yeah, it's that, like we said, picking your timing to Bono.
And I tell you what that was, he cut that corner, clipped the inside curb, and that's what's unweighted the car and just unsettled it. But Belak leads to Dixon. It is. It's so deadly.
Like you can sometimes ride that corner. Sometimes it'll spit you out to the right, and as we saw, you drop a tyre out to the right, and DeBono shot him across to the left. So yeah, I think the DeBono will definitely be ruining that opportunity, and looking for a much improved performance in race 2.
So on board now with Belak once again. He leads the way to Dixon, and then to Gallo P3. More of an RBR move. But yeah, it's I know it's Vela saying I know that feeling as well, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. Hopefully he can have a good strong run in the next race. Obviously it'll be a longer affair, so he'll have time to make it up the field. Unfortunately for Dylan, he is now back in P25, and this is looking more and more likely that it could be his drop round here tonight if he can't improve in race number 2. But I mean, Belak doing well. We know he had the pace in practice to stick it out the front, and well, it's now up to Dixon to put the pressure back on him here to try and challenge for this win in race number 1.
And that's the thing. This could be Belak's first win in the SRW F3. I think this will be his maiden win if he can bring it home in 5 minutes' time. So fingers crossed, young fella.
Only 15 years of age as well. He's not the youngest one we've got out there in SRW. That goes to Ty Delaney, being a year younger, although he does turn 15 this year. As Belak sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:14.656. An absolute ripper lap from him there. And, well, we can see now that he's out in front of everyone, he doesn't have anyone to battle with. He's just able to put his head down and get the pace into that car and just make up time on Dixon behind him. The gap's already out to 1.052 seconds. I believe the tow range around Mid-Ohio is, I think, 1.2 to 1.5 seconds. So he's not quite out of tow range just yet here, Hutto, but if he keeps producing laps like that, it won't be very long until Dixon can't do anything about it.
And that's the thing, if you're within that tow range, but this is such a tight and turny circuit, are you really going to get much benefit from that tow? Which I think is actually a lot shorter. It's probably about 0.5 is where you really start feeling that tow of the car in front of you, and you pass them up the inside or the outside. But if Caleb can just keep Dixon at a second or more for the next couple of minutes, Yeah.
I mean, we come round lap number 12, 16 minutes, 20 seconds into the session. So only 3.5 minutes to go here, Hutto. I'd say probably 3 more laps in this one. Dixon pips him for best lap of the race, a 1:14.627 there. Drive-through penalty for car 276 for contact with car 443 on the lap 9. That's Dave Roberts. He has just committed to the drive-through. So that now takes him out of any contention for any sort of top 15, possibly even a top 10 here tonight for race 1. But, I mean, what a battle we've had here from the top boys at this stage. And Ryan is really starting to put the pressure on Gallo here for P3. Let's go on board here. We'll sit with Ryan as we come up through the back section of this track. It's such a tough, tight, bumpy, you know, sort of winding section of circuit. Very, very easy to run it wide and to catch a bump here in this car. And we know this car, Hutto, just struggles with bumps, and it's very weak in terms of making contact with things. It's a bit of a lightweight when it comes to a bar fight, but it is it has a weak chin. That's what we'll call it. It has a weak chin. It goes down very easily, but it's such a rewarding car to get a lap done really well. But I mean, you cannot ride curves at all in this thing. I mean, when I was doing laps here the other day in the supercar, that turn 1 curve, you could just ride it the whole way around and would not get affected by the bumps, but you cannot do it in this F3.
Absolutely not. But you look at the undulation throughout this track as we are on board with Will Ryan. The car just loses downforce. Over those crests, it's an absolute nightmare. So as we come up to the end of this straight, we go through the right-hander, that left-hander over the crest, the back just wants to step out. You go over to the next left-hander, 2 corners time. It wants to step out again, and then you're throwing it right into that right-hander, or the double right-hander really, and over that crest again, the back wants to step out once more. Like, the driver's being able to control this vehicle for 20 minutes, let alone 40 minutes. It's tough out there. Like I said, you've got to concentrate for every lap, for every corner. Because if you lose your focus, you'll end up in the wall or in the grass or... Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could see kind of off the exit of 3 the little wiggle that Ryan's car had as you mentioned it. Again, it's just getting that little air underneath the car, and it just kind of, forces it to step out. We have got the final lap of the race call now, so it is white flag. Belak just has to survive for another minute, and he will be a race winner here in SRW TV for the Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals. Favela saying the step out is good for rotation. It is, but you don't want it to over-rotate as well. And I know that Phil did actually message me back. I did ask him if he'd sit in the booth tonight. But unfortunately, he's nursing a respiratory infection. So I hope you feel better soon, Phil.
Get well soon.
It's all good that you couldn't get in here tonight with me in the booth, but maybe we can get you in future as well if Cowie needs to step away again for any reason, whether it's personal or professional. So, but we can appreciate the reasoning why Cowie couldn't commentate here tonight, and we hope that everything works out positively for him and what he's venturing for here tonight as well. But Belak comes around the final corner to cross the line, and the 15-year-old has taken victory for the first time in Sim Racing World TV here for the Formula 3s. It was a great run from him, and he has improved, as we mentioned, Hutto, and that is really just going to gratify that practice and that gain in officials to finally get that first win.
And it's great to see these young fellas, any young person coming through and given, I guess, our 30s and our 40s, something to look out for. We look over our shoulder. If these young guys are putting the laps together, they're putting the work in, and it's paid dividends for Caleb tonight.
I don't have to worry about it. I'm not in my 30s yet. I'll hold on to my youth for as long as possible. I mean, what a race we had there. It's kind of a race of halves. We had safety car period at the start, that then bunched small back up a little bit, even though they weren't really spread out. Then we had those battles early on, and then once De Bono kind of lost it, Belak was able to break away, and he had a good run to the end. And that race had a little bit of everything other than a bit of a strategy play because they didn't need to come into the pits. But if we can get that with the strategy play in race number 2, we could be on for an absolutely epic race here tonight for race 2.
Well, I think for race 2, there's a bit of a pit window. There's about 8 laps in which the drivers can come in. So will we see an undercut? Will we see an overcut? Is it, what works around this track? I'm unsure because we haven't raced here before. So I guess we'll just see how it pans out, really.
Well, here are our provisional race results for race number 1 here tonight. Caleb Ballack takes out P1 for Pioneer DJ Racing. He finishes 1.6 seconds ahead of Jay Dixon for Downforce Racing there in P2. David Gallo will then come home in P3 with Will Ryan making home in P4. Then Marcus Knitska will make it home in P5 with Andrew Johnston in behind him in P6. He'll also come home P1 for the Pro-Am. Scotty Pocock will come home in P7 with Darren Fahey out of P8. Callan Hodgson then comes home in P9, P2 in class, just ahead of P3 in class, but P10 overall. Matthew Gerard for Velocity Simlabs. Pete Ziedler will then come home in P11, just outside the podium for the Pro-Ams. And then it's Mark Cochran for Apex Esports League, who comes home in P1 there for his class, P12 overall. Shane Bowen will then come home in P13. Dean Singovich makes it home P14, but P2 in class. I spoke to him pre-race and said, are you going to go for another round win here tonight? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not that confident. But a P2 already, all he needs is really a win, and Cochrane finishing P3, and he'll take that one out. Nick Schmalenberg will come home P15. Greg Johnston in P16. Daniel Byrne drops down the order, unfortunately for him. He comes home P17. Brett Del Santo in P18. And then Mark Turner just outside of that top 18 slot, but he comes home P19. Matt Tessierra then makes up the top 20 with Stephen Singovich, Matty Gowans, Mitch Noble, Dave Roberts, Callum Rossender, Dylan DeBono, Matty Storer, Greg Bradley making up the rest of the field there in this one here for race 1. But we've got the warm-up session now, Hutto. What do you kind of go through for a warm-up session? What's kind of your process here for a warm-up? Is it, time to go get a drink, time to, alleviate yourself a little, relieve yourself a little bit, or are you out there having a bit of a practice, maybe trying to practice start or something like that?
Yeah, it really depends on, I guess, how I went in race 1. How if I see potential for improvement somewhere, if there's a corner that I'm just not quite making, I might go out and turn a few laps. But more than likely, I'll have a bit of a breather, chat with the other guys on the Discord, and take a breath and get ready for race 2.
Well, that is what the majority of the field are doing at the moment. Only 3 cars have actually been out on track, including Pocock, Ross, and now Ziedler's also just gone out as well. So we will sit with these guys just for a moment here for the warm-up session. We'll take advantage of that, have a little breather ourselves, go and get a drink. This is our little break moment here. It's only 2 minutes long, but we'll be back soon at the end of the warm-up session. Right, I hope that was a good break for everyone. Good opportunity there just to kind of stretch the legs, go get a drink, relieve yourself if you had to. But now it's time to get into race number 2 for tonight. It's going to be a good one here, Hutto. I know a lot of these drivers will be ready to go. 40 minutes around here. 20 minutes flew by. If we don't get a safety car here in the second race, we could blink and it'll be all over with. We'll quickly bring up our grid, though, for race number 2. The only difference is the change in... Oh, no, is this a full reverse grid? No, it's just the top 10, I was about to say.
Just the top 10.
Yeah, just the top 10. Because I saw Mark Cochran P12. I'm like, did he finish P12? He did. Matty Gerard will start out of P1 here tonight for Velocity Simlabs, just ahead of Callan Hodgkinson in P2. Darren Fahey then starts out of P3 with Scotty Pocock starting out of P4 in behind. Andrew Johnson then starts out of P5 here tonight, just ahead of Marcus Knitsker in P6. Will Ryan then starts out of P7 with David Gallo in P8 here tonight. Jay Dixon will then start out of P9 with Caleb Ballack starting out of P10. The rest of the order is the same, how they finished in race number 1. It's going to be a good race, and we are going to get ready to go here for race number 2. We could be on for some absolutely epic action out of this one. I mean, the first race was a nice little short, sharp run to the flag, and now we get to go racing for twice as long with twice as many possibilities for safety cars and for fireworks to absolutely go off from these things. So Chris Walding in the chat, I like Betty Page on the side deflectors. I'm going to assume that was for the Red Rocket car. 30 seconds until the green light. Now, what's going through your mind on a race start like this, Hutto? You know, you got the car on the grid, you're ready to go. What's kind of the thought process that would be going through these drivers' mind here, coming into a second race of the night, or even into the first race as well?
I guess your basics: check tyres, fuel set. That's a standard. You can't change that one. And yeah, eyes forward, pay attention for the green light, and yeah, wait.
That's all you can do. It almost feels like an eternity when you're in the car, but lights are up. We're going to get ready to go racing for the second time here tonight. It is green flag running. It was a good start there from the front of the field, nice and clean, no smoke off the tyres there as we come up towards turn number 1. Looking pretty clean here for the first time by here tonight, as they all just start to pan out. A little bit of dust brought up there off the exit of the track, but looks pretty good. And look at this, you can see in the background there's already some movement happening. They're about 3 or 4 wide through here. Will Ryan's run wide. That was Will Ryan. And that was always going to happen with 4 cars wide into turn number 2. 4 into 2 does not go well. Back up the front though, down towards turn 3. And Gerard's done well here off the start. Hodgkinson under massive pressure with Fahey in behind. Come up towards the Honda Bridge. They look nice and tidy as they come through here. And we can just see, I mean, they would have been in a bit of a rhythm already off race number 1, Hutto, and now it's kind of like sometimes the warm-up can get you out of that rhythm, but it looks like it hasn't done too much damage for them in terms of being ready for the track and knowing how they need to drive it here for an extended period of time.
Well, the only difference is they're now back on cold tyres and full tank of fuel. So, you know, it might take 2-3 laps for the tyres to come back up to temp, really get that grip on the track. But like you said, they've been out there with the entree of race 1, or as Caleb Ballack goes wide, bounces his way across back onto the track. And now we have race 2, the main. Will we see Caleb go back to the front as he defends from... Andrew Johnston.
Yeah, Johnston
who
Gallo
rides the ribbon strip. Gallo's got the run on him here.
Could be an interesting run up towards turn 3. Can he get it done? Will Dixon want to make it 3 wide? No. Johnson just backs out of it, lets them go. So he doesn't want to put too much of a fight up against these guys. They are in a different class. Even though they're scored on an overall scoring system, Hutto, they are scored within their classes as well. As Turner's gone round and the front of that car is hanging off.
Oh, several cars caught up on that one with Schmalenberg spun around. No, hopefully there's no safety car for that one as Turner gets going again.
Let's see a replay of what's happened here. So Schmalenberg was the first to go off.
Ooh,
and that was a car going wide. And then they've come together.
Deary, deary me.
And they're lucky just not to get caught out by anyone else. Great holding of brakes there between both of them. They nearly came together again off the rejoin.
Good work by Johnson to avoid all that carnage as the drivers were turning around and such.
Yeah, that was good from him, but Turner will have to bring it back in the pits. Bit of a Mercedes inspired livery, that one. Looks pretty good on that car. I do enjoy it. Rossender,
white with the green.
Rossender's also gone off on the exit of turn 1. Oh, and he's found the Shadow Realm entry in the ground. He's going to get stuck.
Oh no.
Oh, this is going to be a tow, and this could be a safety car depending on how race control feels about this. He is off track, so they may not call the safety car and just let him tow because he is on the infield. So he might be all right here off the back of that, but he has found the Shadow Realm door there in the middle of the park. But we come round. Gerard leads. They're already coming up on some lap traffic. And I believe that's Steve Sinkovich up ahead. It is indeed running the Shannon's Insurance colours on that car. He's already had a bit of a poor start here tonight. He had a bit of a spin early on, so he's already getting to his namesake nice and early here in race number 2.
Well, funnily enough, this is his 99th F3 race for SRW. Would you believe it?
Oh, he will not shut up about when he gets to 100. That'll be going on his resume for sure. 100 races in an F3 car.
Well, number 100, that'll be next week. What have we got next week? I'm trying to think what the track is.
Let me have a look at the calendar. Let's go check it out. It is Magny Core next week, so that'll be an interesting affair for him. Then we head off to Aragon, then to Bathurst, then to Okayama, then to Phillip Island, and then to Mugello to round out the season.
Faye goes past Hodgkinson for second.
It was a good move by him there. Hodgkinson kind of let him have it just off the back of that, but Fahey did well just to kind of shoot him up the inside and get it done. So, you know, we like to say it takes 2 to tango, and well, it takes 2 to get an overtake done nice and cleanly. You know, you have to be able to put the car in the position to get it done, but the other car also has to give you the room too. Drive-through penalty for car 007 for contact with 067. I didn't realise James Bond was out there tonight. That is Greg Bradley, who's been given a drive-through penalty. So unfortunately for him, he will come through the lane, but he is P26, so that'll take him out of real contention here tonight.
Well, I guess he'll be hoping for a safety car somewhere in there if he can come in and, you know, make amends for that early indiscretion. But I guess we'll just wait to see how this one pans out.
Well, we know that the safety car can really spice up the field a little bit, and I'm sure Bradley will prefer the field to get shaken, not stirred, just to kind of bring him back into contention off the back of that. I had to get a James Bond reference in there. I just had to.
Well done.
So we got Roberts battling it out here with Mark Cochran at this stage. This is for P14 on the road. Cochran is still P1 in class, but he has got Mitchie Noble in behind in P2 in class, so he's going to start putting some pressure on him here. Dean Sinkovich has dropped off a little bit here off the start, so he's actually off the podium now for that class, but Cochran looking strong, and well, Roberts is not going to let him have this for free.
Tyre.
And it makes me wince seeing such close racing with them, because we know how much these things can break and how easily they can break. They've got Storer in behind, followed by Tessiero, as Dixon and Ballack are battling up the front. Although I think Ballack's actually dropping in and out a little bit. I think that's why, but this battle is only just heating up between these drivers down the latter end of the field. We'll head up and we'll check out how Andrew Johnson's going. He's just off the back of this really nice tight battle pack here. These guys are all in behind P2 of Darren Fahey. So we got Fahey, Knitska, Hodgkinson, Pocock, Ballack, Dixon and Gallo. All these guys battling it out at the moment. Go aboard here with David Gallo. In behind Dixon, who's trying to get a move done on Ballack, who's also trying to get past the prime of Hodgkinson. So again, just about patience here. You know, Ballack will just want to be a bit patient, get that calculated move done. We saw him do it in race 1, so we know he's capable. Just needs to have that patience. That is what is important in these cars when going for move. Patience, patience, patience. Almost feels like a hospital when you're driving this car. There's that much patience needed, but That's all he has to do, and you know he has the ability to get it done. He wants it up the inside of Hodgson. Hodgson not going to let him have it. He goes for the switchback. Does not get the run off the final corner, but he could want it here into turn 1. And I'll tell you what, this is a great little front row seat we've got here for this battle, Hutto.
Absolutely. And Callan not making it easy for the pro drivers either. Like, yes, he's waving it through periodically, but not without, you know, not just stepping aside completely, which is good to see. And that's the beauty of the scoring system in this league as well. So, whilst all the drivers will head out at the same time, they are in their individual classes, they're scored 1 through to 30. Points differing each week. But that actually goes to show that if a Pro-Am or an Am does well, and they're aptly rewarded with more points. And, you know, throughout the season you see an Am or a Pro-Am actually, you know, push up into the field and you go, oh, you know, this guy's actually got a bit of ticker about him. And, you know, they're racing well. And more often than not, as we saw with Greg Bradley last season, he won the Pro-Am Championship by a country mile in the end. But he was, I guess, yeah, really pushing it in amongst with the pros, and it's good to see.
Phil Weller saying, see him balance the draft on the straight just then. That was smart. So, yeah, I mean, just some smart racing here between a lot of these drivers. They're not letting anyone have any moves easily, but it's just those little skills that you pick up driving this type of car, and I guess that's what's going to come into introducing this open wheel license into iRacing. What it will mean is you know, these boys who drive the F3, they'll all of a sudden have a rookie license coming into next season, because the F3 will be scored differently to the like the sports sedans of, you know, the supercars, the GTs, and anything alike.
I was hoping everything would just kind of transfer across, so whatever iRating or whatever it happened to be would move straight across and I guess start again, but just split the difference. But I guess that's up to iRacing to decide and deal with it as we need to.
Well, I think the reason you can't do that is you're taking a portion of 2 licenses, being road and oval, and putting it into 1 for open wheelers, because the open wheeler license will represent IndyCar on both road courses and ovals. It will also represent the likes of the F3, F4, the Formula 1 car, Formula 315, whatever it is, the Indy Lights. Because it'll represent all of that, it's a bit hard to really determine what might be your rookie license or what might be your iRating in that class. So it could be an interesting shake-up going forward for that. I mean, maybe if you're past rookies on road and oval, they just put you in Class D for open wheel.
I guess it'd be a sore point, wouldn't it, if you're you know, expecting to be in an A class, B class, or C class, and, you know, the series you're racing is in a particular class above what you're allocated when it all unfolds. But fingers crossed.
Well, I mean, we'll get the answers come the Season 2 update, won't we? We'll know exactly how it works when that license is put in, and we can see personally what our iRatings are for those licenses, I guess, you know.
What's that? 4 weeks' time we have to wait for that? 4 weeks,
yeah. I mean, we'll have the answer at, you know, the latter end of this season. The IR18 is wasted on ovals. Yeah, I suppose it is, but I mean, actually, yeah, maybe the open wheel license will finally mean the IR18 is finally actually going to be a scored event now for iRating, because those IndyCar races are not currently scored. So maybe that's the game plan going forward. We can see here, though, it's, you know, just under 12 minutes into this race, Hutto, Gerard's still leading. 2.1 seconds is the gap back to Fahey. He's done well here off the start, just to kind of, you know, continue this going and continue pushing on. It hasn't really let him come back into the fight at all.
Well, I guess Gerard will be praying that, yeah, no one else actually, you know, drops a wheel or goes in the wall, has an incident, and brings out that safety car, because he's out to that commanding 2.4 second lead, and he'll be wanting to extend it. And there'll be a safety car, there'll be a pit for each of the drivers at some stage during this race. And I guess, yeah, Gerard will be hoping for no abnormal activities from race control.
Well, I'm sure if it was going to happen, he'd want it to happen around that pit stop. Because at least then he could benefit from it. At least he could get a free pit stop in and it wouldn't actually hurt him in any way. So that's...
Speaking of pit stops, is there a potential for cars to do an overcut or an undercut? You know, this track is hard to pass outside of those two straights, and we're starting to see the drivers are in their rhythm. Will we see someone go in early, try and get that fresh air, or is it actually worth staying out and just soaking up the toe from the car in front and apply that bit of pressure?
So my thought process is if the lap time is 1.5 minutes or less, the undercut can be done. If it's 1.5 minutes or more, you're more likely going to see an overcut work better. I could be completely wrong. That's just what I've noticed from commentating races over this past 12 months is that's normally what we see happen. But I would say if someone's going to do an undercut and it's going to work well for them, it's going to be the likes of a Bellac or a Dixon or a Byrne or a Gallo because they can lap at an absolute rocket's pace. And if they come out in, in some clean air, it will do them a benefit. So it's all going to be very circumstantial. I would say it's going to come down who actually has the pace. A Hodgkinson may not be able to get an undercut done because he doesn't actually have the pace over Dixon and Bellac. Maybe Gerard could undercut Fahey and get a bit of extra time ahead of him, but it's all just going to depend on when the back of the field also comes in, because if they come out into the traffic and the back of the field don't come in straight away, that's going to hinder them a little bit. So it's a real dice roll. Could pay off for them though if they can work it right.
So it's roughly a 26-second transit time with pit as well to fill up potentially 10 litres of fuel or however much to get to the end of the race. And we see that pit window open up just after lap 13. I think the pit window is between 13 and 20 for this particular race. So it'll be interesting to see in a lap time if anyone does decide to roll the dice and come in and see if they can benefit. Oh no,
Marcus Konitska. I believe he's missing the front of his car. Let's see the replay of what's happened. So he's alongside Fahey. Oh, and there's been a big tyre touch. And that's where the front of the car would have come off. Oh, and then a poor rejoin as well.
No.
Oh, it's gone from bad to worse for him off the back of that.
Well, there'll be a few cars with damage coming out of that one. So will we see a handful of cars into the pits soon?
Well, he's still parked up.
Dixon's
in. So is De Bono.
Bono.
So we could see the undercut work to absolute perfection between...
Safety car has been called.
Okay, so we got the safety car coming out on track. So
surely everyone's going to dive into the pits.
They'd have to. They'd have to, surely. Like, if they wouldn't, that would be questionable. Majority of the field in the background's come in. So Dixon, Pocock, Cochrane, Ryan, Singovich, Del Santos, Storer all in. De Bono's already come out. He's actually come out ahead of Dixon. So you can see him here. So he actually had a little bit of a shorter stop. Actually, De Bono didn't actually stop in the lane. So I reckon that might be a drive-through maybe. It was 20 seconds. 20 seconds was his lane time. So that's a drive-through. So I wonder why he's just come through the lane on the back of that one. He's on the radio. What's he saying?
There's definitely an incident that's under review at the moment. So fingers crossed race control can... flick us a message perhaps and give us a bit of an insight. No idea why De Bono's gone for a mosey down pit lane though.
Yeah, that definitely will not help his efforts in any way. That's only going to hinder him now. He's given up track position. He's down outside the 10 as Gerard, Fahey, Bellac, Gallo, Hodgkinson, Ziedler come in. Johnston, does he come in? He does indeed, but he's actually given up a position here to Daniel Byrne on the way in. I think he's actually run it wide on the entry. That's now lost in position. It is. And it's very easy to run it wide off that second to last corner. So yeah, I would say majority of the field's coming in at this point. Like, why would you not? Gerard's already out. He's already claimed the lead. Dixon, is he going to gain off the back of this? He has. He's up to P4. So he has gained off the back of that one. Ziedler's also gained off the back of it as well. He's up to P6. So there's a nice little strategy play from him. Byrne now back into the top 10. So all of a sudden, and Bellac's P2, all of a sudden here, Hutto, we've got a very interesting game plan on our hands from the field. Because this is now bunched them all back up. it's now, hard reset. We're going to go green pretty much at the halfway point. There's going to be some waiver rounds. So we're going to get to the 20th minute, start racing again. All of a sudden, we've got a sprint to the end between these guys to see who's going to get the win.
Well, yeah, I guess Caleb will be licking his lips. He's worked his way up after the pit stop up to second, and Gerard will just be, hoping that, I guess, Bay, Gallo, Dixon, Balak all fight between each other. And, let him get that win.
Phil Vella in the chat. I've been telling you dudes for so long the Dixon strats are real. Hey, it paid off for him. He was lucky that the safety car was called as he was coming up to the second to last corner. It just let him just kind of slip in and get the fuel in the car, and then have a full-on push to the safety car queue. So that worked out as a benefit for him, and the undercut worked in that sense. So good job there from Jay Dixon. So at this point in the race, Hutto, who do you reckon? Who do you reckon is going to get this one off the back of this? Who do you think are your major players to take effect here in a win? As Fahey's actually been gifted the position over Balak, so I reckon Balak must have gone past him by mistake.
Well, I guess it's your usual suspects, isn't it? Like Balak with that fantastic race one. I guess I'd back him in to win race number 2 if he can get past Faye. Faye's, definitely performed in the past, and I think he may have a couple race wins. Gallo and Dixon. I'd like to see Gerard win. Like, just stick it to the pros. Like, stay out in front. But with those 4 drivers sitting behind Gerard, it's anyone's game. It just depends on how they attack this restart and go through the rest of the race.
Yeah, I think this race is going to be one of 2 halves. We've had our first chapter, and we're coming in now to the second portion of it. It's we're coming into the final act pretty much now of this race. We're gonna get ready. We've had the waiver rounds. The safety car, I'd say, should be in this lap. And now it's going to be, full push from here on out. Full-on sprint race. The first half, nothing matters in that now. All that matters now is the second half of this race. Cars are fueled up. If they could have put a little bit less in and have been fuel saving just this little bit here on the safety car. But now at this point, it's full sprint, and everything that's happened before now doesn't matter. What matters now is eyes forward into the checkered flag. So I think, I reckon, it's hard to say. That top 5 is looking incredibly pacey at this stage, Hutto. But I could put it to Dixon to pull this one out somehow. I reckon he could do this. From P5.
Don't forget, there's Burns sitting in P7.
He is, so
Burns
he's up there too.
As well.
He is, he's up there too.
Safety car's in at the end of this. Safety car's in now. He's going to pull away from the field.
So we'll get ready to go racing once again.
And that's one thing with the top of this list, or even this season, with the likes of Kutajar and Vella absent this season, unfortunately. It really gives rise to one of these drivers to, make a mark on the competition. Who's going to stand up? Who's going to take that, the mantle? Who's going to take over from Vella?
Who is officially going to be known as Phil Vella going forward? Could Gerard take claim to that name? Bit of contacts as they come through. He balked them up, but it was a great run here off the restart from the leader. We go racing once again at Mid-Ohio. 21.5 minutes into proceedings of 40. Fahey's run it wide, and he's dropping a massive amount of spots. That takes him out of contention, and all of a sudden, Balak has got clear road ahead up to the back of Gerard, and all sorts of pressure could be on him now for the next 19, 18 or so minutes till the checkered flag flies.
Gerard will just take a wee breath until the guys will try and catch up to the back of him, as Caleb now almost inside that second mark.
So just needs to try and keep the pace up if he can. De Bono's dropping spots too. He's put it into the wall.
Oh, no.
He's got it rolling, so it might not be a safety car, but they are just dropping like flies a little bit now.
Oh no, de bono.
So we'll get a quick little replay of what happened to Mr. Fahey off that restart. So he's coming up here towards turn one.
Oh, I see the ripple strip.
No, he has he
that strip in the middle.
He hit it?
I reckon he's just clipped it and it's just thrown him right.
Let me
anyway, he's going again.
He is. Let's just quickly check out how he's actually done this just quickly. On board with him now into turn one. No, he's just lost it before then.
Oh, no, he's got it loose.
Yeah, he turned way too hard, way too early. And that's what's caused it.
He saw with himself after that one.
So the gap now under 7.5 seconds back to Bellac. Is it a foregone conclusion for Bellac to get past Gerard, or does Gerard have some magic for us?
Nah, Gerard's going to fight for this one. I guarantee it. He's good at passing, going through the midfield. But let's see if he can hold on for that P1.
This is now going to be a crowning achievement for him if he can pull this out. What is going to be interesting, though, is if Bellac starts to attack Gerard, Gerard's able to hold him off. It's going to drag Gallo and Dixon into it, and then that'll work in Gerard's favour because Bellac's going to be under all sorts of pressure. Oh, as he locks it up.
Jinxed him.
We did. Bellac's going to come on through, and he's going to take the lead here as we come round for lap number 19. Gallo wants it. Can he get it done? Of course he can.
Well done.
It's absolutely phenomenal racing from these guys right now. Lap 18, 24.5 minutes into proceedings. Dixon wants it up the inside. Not quite close enough there. And Gerard has just cracked like an egg off the back of that one. Needs to just take a breath down the straight, have a reset, put his head down. That's what he has to do at this point, Hutto.
Oh, where do I look? Look up and down the tower. There's so much orange, so much yellow. And it's like, which move's going to happen next? But as we, stay on these guys at the front, I don't want to look away. It's fantastic racing.
It's unbelievable. We've got battles all up and down the field. And all of a sudden, Gerard is under pressure from Dixon. Dixon will want to get this done as soon as possible. He cannot let Gallo and Bellac run away from him. He needs to keep it within tow range if he wants to have any hope of catching up to the top two. I mean, we know the pace that both of them have got. We know the sort of pace that Dixon's got, but he's not going to be able to run at that pace being in behind Gerard at the moment.
He'll have to make his pass soon. Will he get him at the end of this, after this left-hander up the back of that long looping hairpin?
Drive-through penalty for car 5. That's Darren Fahey. So another one bites the dust, and it is just going bad to worse. It seems that anyone who has made a mistake here tonight, it's just going bad to worse for them. I can't even name who else had a penalty race 1, but it just seemed like all of them were involved in something, whether it was with themselves or with somebody else, and that's what's copped them the penalty.
And I guess it's just unfortunate why you hang out for that second race to try and make amends for, potentially a result you didn't get, only for things to go to worse. But, there's more weeks in this season. We've got 9 weeks. There's a drop round for each driver, to be taken prior to the final round. So the results of rounds 1 to 8, the drivers will take their worst result and drop that off the scoreboard. So it's not all doom and gloom if you have one bad round. There's that safety net of that drop round.
There's also a drive-through penalty for car 155, that being Marcus Knitska. So yet another one where it goes from bad to worse. That's kind of the story of the night at this point in time. But the other narrative that is on hand is Bellac could go from being a driver with 0 wins in the F3s and SRW to a driver who's actually a round winner in possibly only 14 or so minutes time. So if he can hold off Gallo and even Dixon if he gets up on the back of them, this could be a monumental effort here from the young fella.
Well, do you think the drivers in positions 2, 3, 4 are going to start working together? It's like they know that Gallo's, just outside of that 1 second mark. Will they work together to try and push passes? Dixon up the inside. Ooh.
He got it done into 3. Gerard just kind of had to give him to it. at the end, but now Dixon has clear road to get up on the back of Gallo and just say to him, boy, let's go get the young fella and put some pressure on him here for the last, 10 or so minutes.
And that benefits Zeidler a great deal, seeing as Gerard and Zeidler both in the same class, in that Pro-Am class. And it's great to see, like I said, the Pro-Ams and the Ams actually mixing with the Pros on any given track. So
we got a couple of comments here about the blackouts the last couple of days here in Melbourne, saying there should be an empathy drop round for the Melbourne Storms. I mean, I could make that argument. I didn't have internet today due to the storms yesterday up until about 5 p.m. So, it was actually probably about 5:15 that I had it. Mitchie Noble's dropping spots, and he's just gone off at the second to last corner there. So, and that drops him back down the order as well. Not what you want to see.
It's a really unforgiving track, isn't it? You drop a wheel anywhere, it's just grass for miles, and you go skidding, and you're sliding everywhere. So, it's brutal.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that we've actually had a safety car, or at least safety car in both races here tonight. This is not a track that normally lends itself to safety cars, just because there is so much open space. But I suppose the fact is we've had incidents where there are tight walls around those sections of track, or we've had people get stuck in walls, and that kind of forces the safety car to come out. So I guess on any other day, at any other point in the race or any other point on the actual track, we may not have gotten them. So, but I am a fan of the safety car, so it's good to actually at least see it here tonight in both races.
It really does bring that strategy back in, or
just quickly,
kind of
equalises. Just quickly, Ballack has got a drive-through. Ballack has been given a drive-through for a restart procedure breach causing contact with car 5. So that goes back to your comments on the restart about there being contact.
Yeah, I thought I just saw Caleb just clip Fafay on that last corner. So, it's not what we want to see. But, hey, look, that's racing. And Gallo and Dixon will, I guess, be eyeing off the chance to grab that P1 spot now. But, like I said, will they work together? Probably not.
No, they're going to go against each other now. Full gangbusters here for the last 10 minutes. It's unfortunate for Caleb, but that's what comes with racing. You've got to have that patience, as we mentioned, and that little spur of the moment impatience from him just caught him out, and that's going to take the win away from him here in the second race. What it now does is it promotes David Gallo to P1, Jay Dixon to P2. Matty Gerard will now get back up onto the podium for an overall podium here tonight, and he'll have an opportunity to battle here for P2 and P3. Byrne has now gotten past Zeidler to get up into P5. It'll be P4 when Ballack comes in. But could we see an attack here from Byrne on Gerard to get onto the podium?
Well, you'd be thinking Byrne would try be pushing hard to get past Gerard, and then, I guess Byrne and Gallo, they're on the same team, so will Gallo try and back Dixon up onto whoever the car is behind if Byrne can get past Gerard with only 10 minutes remaining. Who knows?
Only there is another drive-through penalty for car 15, that being Brendan Storer. Ballack has not come in to commit to the drive-through penalty, so we'll have to keep an eye on this, whether he actually comes in and commits to it, or if he's actually going to get himself disqualified, which would be a shame to see. Obviously, if he comes in, he's only going to lose 20 seconds of track time. That's probably going to take him. If I look at my timing, where would that put him? That's going to put him about P16. So he would still get some points.
But you've got to think, like, you're at the front, you're lapping quick. You'd stay out until the end of that third lap in which you need to serve that penalty, because you're going to be lapping quicker than the guys behind you. As he comes in now.
Yeah, he comes in.
But I guess, if you could stay out for as long as possible and continue those quick lap times, that pushes you further up the field when you rejoin. So it'll be interesting to see where he does come out.
Yeah, so we'll have a look just a little bit further back through the field, just see where he comes out. We've got Cochrane battling with Sinkovic and Bradley in behind him. We've also got Del Santo. Ballack has come out P10, so he hasn't actually lost that much time. He's come out P10. He's still going to get a top 10 here and could even challenge for a top 5 if he can make up the time fast enough. Although he has got 3 seconds onto the back of Will Ryan, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities to get a betterment of this position and still challenge for a round win.
Well, he's got to get through the 2 pace syndicate cars of Roberts and Ryan first, so yeah, he's got a bit of work to do.
There's also been a drive-through penalty given to car 024, that being Dean Sinkovic. Oh, that's going to take him off of the podium for the amateurs. So another one that just goes a little bit bad to worse here for the drivers a bit further down the order. That was due to car contact with his teammate, actually, car 10, Mitchy Noble. Why would you call that in on one of your team bosses? Like, surely you just let it slide a little bit.
Just give him a spray post-race, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. You know, or you give him a receipt and another one.
Yeah, no love lost at SRW, eh?
That's it. Kanitska's had an incident in the background. What's happened to him? He's gone off here just before the Honda sign. Looks like he's kind of lost the rear end. And, well, his teammates are doing well in the top 10. His night is not going as planned here in race number 2.
No, like you said, there's been a handful of drivers just going from bad to worse. And there's been quite a few drive-through penalties as well.
Yeah, I think this is one of those tracks that really rewards clean driving. And it really rewards just that consistency, as we've mentioned. So it could really come down to, who's going to be the most consistent and who's just able to hit their marks across the lap. And I think that comes down to any car that you race around here, not just the F3s, but even if it's the supercar, the 8.6, or anything in between. Phil Vella saying, I love the integrity of the series, doesn't matter who you are. Yeah, I think there's a lot of integrity out there, Hutto, and you probably had to speak about that from a front line perspective, being that you're out there on track every week. And yeah, I suppose there's a bit of integrity between teams. I mean, personally, if it was one of my teammates that hit me, would I call them out for it? Possibly not. I'd probably wait for an opportunity in a future race to take them out, but that's just the kind of banter that we have in my team. Other teams, though, they'd probably just call it down the middle and actually see what race control say about it. So, it's not always, kisses and roses here on Valentine's Day between some of the teams out there.
Well, I think the bunch of drivers we've had over this season and previous seasons, we're all, we've been racing together for the best part of 3/4 of a year for the mainstays. Everyone's starting to figure out who you can go toe-to-toe with, who you can, work with to try and catch, push forward up on the group. So it's familiarity within the field. And obviously the first 3 rounds, people are still sussing out the new guys. The new guys are trying to, make their rhythm and, make a point if they can. But this current bunch of drivers, they're fantastic. I guess the chats we have in Discord, there's guys helping each other out, sending through stats and lap times through the week. It's actually great to see. It's great.
No, it is great. Balak here, unfortunately for him, he's had an incident. He's pushing hard to make up the spots he's lost. And he's come round.
Just loops it at the top there.
Just pushing a little bit too hard. And you know what? And that's, again, we call it a bit of a character building experience or a character building race for some drivers. It's also a learning experience for them as well. You take those mistakes, you learn from them. And that's what's important. And that's what he needs to do now is learn from this, apply it, and you'll get better from it, and it's not a negative thing, it's a positive, because you can take negatives and positive from any situation, whether it is a positive situation or a negative one, and you can learn from anything that's put in front of you. So hopefully he can apply that and become a better racer for it. And if he does, he's going to become a real challenger in the future, because again, these tools in his toolbox are going to continue to stack up, and it's just going to help him out and again, make him a better driver. And we could see him have runs with Cuttajar and Vella and Dixon and Gallo and Byrne more often in this series, which would be really, really good to see.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong, it's absolutely fantastic to see Vella and Cuttajar, for the last couple of seasons, just go toe-to-toe each week. It's been great. But just having that third and fourth person, catch up and start wearing them down, it only makes the league more exciting. As John's... Oh, clean ball. Zebra goes wide. Oh, no.
That could be an interesting call from race control on that one, I would say. Ziedler has called it in, so...
Yeah, Johnston might not get away with that one, but we'll leave that up to race control.
Yep, could be a post-race review coming on that incident there. Just a bit of a muscle out there, a bit of elbows out, but... We're within the last 5 minutes now, Hutto. No more safety cars in this one, and I reckon We got 2 laps to go when they cross the line, I would say, looking at the time that's left.
Oh, what do we got? 2.5 minutes. It's going to go over. I think we got 3 laps. I'm calling it.
You reckon? We'll wait and see. Yeah. We'll see what they call. Last race they called it so we finished pretty much bang on 20 minutes. We'll see what they call, though, for the final one. Could get the extra lap in if they are quick enough. So Gallo comes around second to last corner now through the final corner. We got 2 minutes, 10 seconds left in this one. He'll cross the line to start lap 29, 38 minutes into this race. So I reckon there's only 2 laps left. Hutto reckons there's 3.
There'll only be 2 laps in this one now. Yeah, with 2 minutes to go, 2 laps. Can Byrne push onto the podium? He's only a second behind Gerard. Gerard's done very, very well to stay on that podium.
He's done absolutely exceptionally well on board now with Daniel Byrne, who will just be hoping to close the gap to have a nice little last lap dash for the podium. He's on the podium for the pros, but not on the overall podium. So this would give Matty Gerard a hell of a lead in the championship, or a hell of a points gain in the championship, I should say, in terms of the Pro-Ams. Although Johnston's still right up there, but we're questionable about that one, possibly for a post-race review on the incident that he had with Ziedler. So this could really pay into Gerard's benefit here, but what this is now going to do, this is actually possibly going to give Gallo the lead of the championship, being that, who was it that was leading? I think it was Daniel Byrne who was leading, if I'm correct.
Well, it's a 14-point gap, and there's, 3 positions between them. I guess in a sprint round, this one goes back by 4 points. Oh, it'll be tight. It also depends on who has that fastest lap, because there's an extra 5 points awarded for the fastest lap of the race.
5 points? Oh, I thought it was only 1. Well then.
We're generous here, 5 points.
Oh, just you get points, everybody gets points apparently, but is it limited also to the top 10, or can anybody in the field get that extra 5 points?
No. It's just in the feature race. But yeah, 5 points. You can be coming, 40th at the back. You lap quickest, bang, 5 points.
Oh, Chris saying he missed the replay of the incident that happened through turn 1 because he spilled wine in the dark. Well, that's why you should drink with a light on there, Chris. Maybe a candle, possibly.
The 40-minute mark. This will be it.
Yep. This should be the end of the race. These guys coming up on the back of a bit of lap traffic now. Up towards the final line. If I was lap traffic, honestly, I would actually let these guys pass. Let yourself just do one less lap, Greg Johnston, just pull it up, let him go, and cross the line behind them. You don't have to keep going around for another lap. But Gallo comes across the line with Dixon in P2. Bit of a slow call there on the finish. I do apologise for it. Gerard in P3, Byrne P4, Johnston a questionable P5 it's a bit of an asterisk on that one. Roberts P6, Pocock in P7. Ziedler hopes to come round into P8. He does. Bowen in P9. Bellac, even after the penalty, comes home in P10. So still a solid finish for him here tonight, Hutto. But I believe this would give Dixon the round win, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, how'd he fare in?
I think race one he was P3. Yeah, he did. He was P2 or P3. So I would say this would give him the round win. We can tell you what the track temp was in this one. It definitely would not be as hot as what yesterday's was. Only 23 degrees. So nice cool track temps out here in Ohio for the race here tonight, compared to the 57 degrees we had out at Sonoma last night. So it's a much easier run for these cars. I would have hated to have seen these things try to navigate around.
Hot track?
Yeah,
no way. No way.
It would not be a fun time. We already saw them struggling to kind of do. We already saw them struggling with the bumps here. Imagine if it was 57 degrees or 50 plus degrees. Like hell would have broken loose out in Ohio for the first time ever. But the podium finishers come up now. They'll park their cars up, and we will get ready for the interviews here tonight with our podium finishers. I mean, Hutto, that was some pretty good racing out there. I mean, how kind of depressed are you that you didn't get to get out there with the boys and enjoy some on-track action with them here tonight?
It's, I guess, a little bit of a sore point to not be on track, but to be honest, running the league and seeing the guys out there week in, week out, just enjoying themselves and that hard racing, it's yeah, I'm happy. That's good.
Well, here are our provisional results here for race number 2 here tonight. David Gallo will finish in P1 for Carlin's Motorsport ahead of the round winner Jay Dixon in P2 for Downforce Racing. Matty Gerard will then manage to get himself onto the podium overall here tonight in P3. He'll also take out the Pro-Am victory here tonight. Daniel Byrne will cross the line in P4 with Andrew Johnston in behind. Dave Roberts will come home in P6 with Scotty Pocock in P7. Pete Ziedler will come home in P8 with Shane Bowen out of P9, and then Caleb Ballack will make up the top 10. Callan Hodgkinson then comes home in P11 with Will Ryan in behind him in P12. Brett Zalsanto will come home P13 with Greg Bradley in behind them. Mark Cochran will then make up the top 15 here tonight for Apex Esports League. He'll also take P1 for the amateurs with P2 and Mitchie Noble in behind him there in P16. Nick Schmalenberg will then round out our amateur podium here tonight. He'll finish in P17 with Matty Gowans coming home out of P18. We then have Dean Sinkovich coming home P19 after a late penalty there, with Greg Johnson coming home out of P20. So then Brendan Sora out of P21, Darren Fahey in P22. Matt Tassiero will come home at P23 with Marcus Kanitska in P24. And then Steve Sinkovich comes home out of P25. Callum Rossender will come home in P26. Dylan DeBono, after an unfortunate end to his race, he will come home 15 laps down in P27 with Mark Turner in behind him in P28. Once again, big thank you to our race control here tonight, Tyson McAvoy, Greg Barber, and our safety car driver as well, who is Greg Leake. So big thank you to them. We have got Mr. Dixon and Mr. Cochran in the green room. We'll drag in Mr. Cochran first. Once I just sort out some of my overlays here and we get everything ready to go for our interview section of the night. Just quickly here. I've got to find where the actual cameras are. There it is. Oh, of course, Mark Cochran has that. I forgot he had that helmet. That is scary to have that on screen while we talk to him, but we'll drag him in nonetheless. Mr. Cochran, you take out P number 1 here tonight for the amateurs. I forgot about your helmet. And I am terrified now that we have to look at this for the next couple of minutes while we chat to you, but we're happy to chat to you nonetheless. How was that one for you?
No, it was good. Sorry, the race control's in my ear as well. Yeah, it was a good race. It was a hard race. I wasn't the quickest out there, but I was just trying to be nice and consistent to keep the lead.
Now, we saw you under some heavy pressure early on. How was it kind of tackling Mid-Ohio? Of course, this was the first time we've ever actually come around here in an F3, and it is likely the last time we come around here in the F3 as well. What was your opinions on the track choice tonight?
It was an interesting choice, I think. The cars got a bit loose over the hills, but it made it a bit of a fun challenge to try and make sure that you had enough car control not to lose it. And it was good to experiment during practice to see where you can push and where you couldn't push.
Well, mate, what was kind of your strategy coming in here tonight? Did you get much practice during the weekend between rounds, or was it kind of a bit of a come in cold turkey and see how you kind of stand during the official practice session and in the qualifying as well?
I had a grand total of 30 minutes practice today, so I was just trying to quickly learn the track when I joined. I got home late from work because of a storm that was in the area. So yeah, I was just trying to keep that momentum up after race 1.
Well, mate, it was a good run from you here tonight. This will be a good chunk of points for you in the Amateur Championship. Who have you got out there to give the shout out to, whoever's supporting you? Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well, mate? Now's your time to do so.
Cheers. Yeah, a big thank you to Pagning Advanced Simulation for their continued support of the team. Also support from Dubby, Next Level Racing, Fanatec, Stump Grinding, Central Coast and Tree Services, and thanks to the team for the support. I don't know if they were watching my stream or your stream, but yeah, thanks for the support and the cheering. It's very much appreciated.
Very good, mate. Yeah, we didn't see the regular supporters out in the chat for the Apex Esports League, but hopefully they were watching, or hopefully they'll be able to see the action on a replay here off the live stream. But congratulations once again. Best of luck next week for Magni Core, and best of luck for the rest of the season as well.
Thanks a lot, Hamish.
Thanks, mate.
See you.
Oh, Brad, I'm a bit confused who two people are in the green room at the moment. They don't have names. They just have N and D. So I don't know if to drag them in. I think the D is David Gallo, but I don't know who N is. So we're just going to drag in our main podium because they're the main podium, and one of them is the Pro-Am winner. We'll start off with Matty Gerard, Pro-Am winner here tonight, Matty. You started out on pole. You built a nice lead at the start of the race, and then you were just kind of dragged back a little bit, but promoted back up onto the podium after Belak got his penalty. How were both the races for you here tonight? Obviously, race 1 was a little bit of a schmozzle in the mid-pack, but starting from the front for race 2, how was that as a difference for you coming in for the 40-minute feature?
Oh, it made a world of difference, eh? Maybe just I get a little bit panicky amongst cars. So having free reign in front of me, nothing to worry about. I could just focus on what I was doing and just went for it. It was nice to build that gap, but I hated that safety car coming out.
Well,
I knew these pro boys wouldn't be far behind.
Well, I mean, we saw you make a little mistake when you had Belak coming up on the back of you there when you lost the lead, and we kind of thought, oh, maybe that's just the pressure coming to you a little bit. But I suppose a bit of a learning experience as well, having that happen. You can kind of self-reflect and reflect on what happened and try and improve upon it in future. But I think you had a strong run tonight regardless, even to come home P3, P1 in class. It's a hell of an effort from you, and really, really good for you to be able to bring the fight towards the likes of Johnson, who's currently sitting in P6 in the championship, but P1 in your class at the moment. And his finish may not be concrete because there is a little bit of controversy sitting between him and Pete Ziedler. So we could see a good amount of points coming your way regardless, but we could actually see the separation between you and Johnston and Ziedler change a little bit after the official results come out. But
yeah.
I mean,
I'm over the moon, mate. To be honest with you, I'm absolutely over the moon. I didn't think I'd do that well tonight, to be honest. But hey, this is awesome. So I've really enjoyed the racing. I mean, congratulations to those pro boys who just picked me off. No dramas. I mean, starting with Caleb, disappointing for him to get that penalty. But Jay and David, hey, congratulations to those boys. Well done.
Well, mate, let us know who's giving you the support out there, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well. So we know who to check out, who's giving the support to Velocity Sim Labs.
Yeah, sweet as. So yeah, Velocity Sim Labs, all the boys, Cam, Dylan, Doug, Tyler, the works, all the boys involved with the team. Original Digital Designs, JS Sim Shots, Here to Race YouTube channel, Speedhouse, big thanks to SRW for putting the league on and running a great series. Oh, and I best say thanks to the missus as well. Valentine's Day and all, and here I am doing sim racing.
Well, mate, hopefully she gets the chocolates that you definitely bought her for Valentine's Day, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, Matty, thanks for coming to have a chat to us, mate. Congratulations, and best of luck out at Magny Core next week.
Sweet as. Cheers, boys.
Thanks, mate. Well, Jay and David, the old gunslingers, come back to battle it out again at the front of the field. We'll start with you, Jay. I mean, no Phil this season, but you're back to your old winning ways, winning out the round tonight, getting a double podium here tonight. How does that feel for you to get back into that sort of position in a championship basis?
It's good. Yeah, I'm glad to finish well tonight. I had the pace last week, but ultimately got caught up in too many other incidents. So it's not nice to be battling at the front and getting in some nice clean, tidy racing.
Now, we spoke about during the race, and this is kind of a question I want to put to both of you. Obviously, it was announced today that the new F3 is coming into iRacing next season. The Dallara 3 XF, I believe it is called. It's basically the little brother of the Super Formula 23 car. With that coming in and that car getting rain and this F3 car not getting rain, would you guys be open to us changing to the new F3 car going forward after this season?
First of all, I think rain's going to be a real bad idea on these races. Look, I'm not opposed to it. I think, onwards and upwards, but I'd give it a month or two to make sure they iron out the bugs on it before you commit to running it for a full season. But yes, see what the timing lines up like, I reckon.
Well, I guess the beauty is because this season kind of runs across the end of season 1, start of season 2, gives us an opportunity to test it out. Plus, there are other series in SRW which would get rain, like the GR86s and the IMSA series. So, I suppose there could be movements in the background to test out rain with those series, see how they do, and then make a decision on the F3s as well. Do you think maybe, even if we change cars, we change cars but not try out rain for the first season and then see how we go going forward? Would you think that would be a better idea?
Absolutely. Get people used to the new car before you throw rain at them as well. I'm of the personal belief that rain's not really going to make it very good. Let's just say I don't think it's going to improve the racecraft.
It'll make for good viewing, that's for sure.
Definitely not for giving cars making contact in the rain, so it will be interesting.
Well, I mean, we saw Caleb take the lead of this race, and then Copy's drive through. What was going through both of your minds here tonight? We'll start with you on this one, Jay, and then we'll move over to David. What was your thoughts going, when you saw him come in and you're like, all of a sudden we're battling it out for a win here?
I heard the screams on Discord from Darren when he got rear-ended, so I knew there was a penalty coming. You can't just run up the back of people on the restart. It's not on, so I'm pretty sure that's in the table worth of or the grid of penalties that was communicated to everyone last week. So, unfortunately for him, I knew that was coming, so it was just a waiting game and make sure I didn't lose Dave too much.
And then what was your thoughts, Dave? Because, of course, you were taking over the lead of the race after he came in. I mean, was it, excitement coming from your end, or was it more or less just heads down and not let Jay past?
I was just really trying to avoid looking at my relative with Jay sort of incoming at the same time, and Caleb sort of made that break, I suppose, so I wasn't sure whether he was going to get penalised or not at that stage, so I was just head down and push on more than anything.
All right, boys. Well, thanks for coming over to chat to us, Jay. We'll start with you. Let us know who's giving you the support out there, mate, and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
All the DFR guys and girls and the extended family that hang around. Thanks for the support week in, week out. Thanks to everyone who races week in, week out as well. Huge shout out to there's a few pro-ams tonight that were really quick. Callan and Matt in particular, Matt finishing on the podium overall. So, congrats to those guys for having good, fast, clean races as well. So it's good to see. And, congrats to Dave for the win.
Very good, mate. And David, anyone you want to give a shout out to as well, mate, or anyone that you need to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I'll thank the sponsors. I've got Carlin's Motorsport, Driver 808, Glam Raider, Little Rara, and Eagles Automotive. I can't forget the missus for allowing me to obviously join for a few hours tonight while she's wrestling the kids to bed. So, and obviously, thanks to Jay and the guys for putting on some good racing, and Maddie. Great effort, so thank you.
Very good, mate. Hutto, is there anything you want to ask the boys before we send them off for the night?
Oh, can you give me some tips for next week?
You can join the Garage 61 crew and look at my telemetry.
I'll have to. Yeah, no, it's been great that the community's been able to set that up as well. And like I was touching on earlier, Hamish, the current bunch of drivers we've got are fantastic, with a willingness and openness to share, tips and tricks and improve. It can only betterment the league and obviously hope the racing entertainment becomes better and better.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining me here tonight, David and Jay. Best of luck next week out at Magny Core, and best of luck for the rest of the season as well.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Hutto, that brings an end to our Formula 3 broadcast here tonight, and brings an end to the first time that we've been in the booth together. What did you reckon of the action that we had out there for the first run of Mid Ohio in these F3 cars?
It was actually a lot of fun to see. Seeing when cars were going to make their move, where they're going to be patient, where they stick the nose up, was it going to pay off, and I guess this track really rewarded the brave. And I guess the sensible or the patient. So it's definitely been a different experience being up in the comm box. I'd much rather be on track, but nonetheless, it's been a lot of fun. And thank you for having me, Hamish. It's been great to fill in, and maybe we do it again one day.
Maybe we will, mate. Well, appreciate you stepping up, covering for Cowie, and giving up your one drop round for the season to be here with me. So I really appreciate it, mate. And I really appreciate the time that everyone has taken to bring us into their homes here tonight and give support to the series and give support to the channel as well. Just a couple little shout outs to give out to the series sponsors, of course, to Shunt Scenery, NuroPower, DSL Rail Services, Grim Industries, and our series sponsors as well. Motorsport Australia, Shannon's Insurance, Warren and Brown Tools. We appreciate them for continuing to support the series and continuing to help us put on some absolutely fantastic racing for everyone over the 6 nights a week that we go racing here on SRW TV, including our Tuesday night Warren and Brown Tools Fiat Supercars series, our Wednesday night Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance GR86 Nationals, which is also a Motorsport Australia official series, the Warren and Brown Tools IMSA Shadow series every Friday night, the Sunday Warren and Brown Tools Fiat Supercars Pro-Am, and then of course the Motorsport Australia Formula V Nationals happening every single Monday night. iRacing events happening 6 nights a week here in the league. You could not ask for any more than that. I mean, we've got so much on offer for everyone, and we're hoping to expand in future to possibly bring you some more absolutely fantastic racing. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon as well, and hit the like button. Any engagement we get on the channel, on the streams, get into the chat if you're watching live, get into the comments if you're watching after the live has ended. Any engagement we get will help us grow the league, grow the channel, be able to get more drivers in and more opportunities to offer you guys more series to race and to get some more eyes on the absolutely fantastic racing that the Australian iRacing community has to offer. But that will bring an end to our Sim Racing World TV production here tonight for the Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals. Round number 3 out of Mid-Ohio. I've been Hamish Munro. Alongside me has been Brad Hudson. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you tomorrow night with JP for the Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86 Nationals. But until then, bye for now.
Amazing, I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostyn and Cam Waters, almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to snip on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us.